In this video, I've compiled some of my favorite Italian wine recommendations from the past 6 months. There's a variety of price points and wine regions represented, so there should be something for everyone. I've recommended the Grattamacco Bolgheri Superiore on this channel many times. That's an excellent wine that compares favorably with Sassicaia and Ornellaia at 1/3 of the price and certainly offers compelling value at around $100 per bottle. But today, I'm going to feature another wine from Grattamacco, namely the Bolgheri Rosso. This impressive wine sells for only around $25 per bottle. The 2023 vintage is on store shelves now. This wine is a blend that consists of 30% of both Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, 25% Cabernet Franc, 10% Sangiovese, and 5% Petit Verdot. This wine is matured exclusively in neutral French oak. As such, it has impressive purity of fruit. This is a full-bodied wine with flavors and aromas that include mixed red and black fruit, floral notes, graphite, and mixed spice. There's ample acidity and an impressive finish for a wine at this price point. This wine comes in at 13.5% alcohol by volume. This wine will be better in another year or so, but in a pinch you can definitely enjoy it immediately with a healthy decant, and you can certainly enjoy it over the next 9 to 10 years or so. It's definitely one to buy in bulk, as you'll be glad to have this one in your cellar. It will be a tremendous cellar defender and give you lots of flexibility in your cellar. Next up is one of my very favorite Sangiovese wines from all of Tuscany. This is a wine that comes from a family-owned producer that purchased a historic 600-hectare estate in southern Chianti Classico back in the 1960s. This wine represents a little bit of an unusual situation, as when I was doing research for this video, I found out that the 2020 vintage for this wine still sells for around $50 per bottle, perhaps slightly higher, although the 2021 vintage is selling for much closer to $70 per bottle. The reason? Well, for the 2021 vintage, this wine has been reclassified as a Gran Selezione, which is the highest quality level in Chianti Classico. The 2020 vintage did not yet have Gran Selezione on the label, so even though that wine is extremely high quality and close to the quality level of the 2021 vintage, it sells for a much lower price. Based on my searching, there's still plenty of this wine in retail channels, as they made more than 4,000 cases of it, and around 1,800 cases were imported into the United States. So you should still be able to track down the 2020 Felsina, Rancia, Chianti Classico Riserva. This impressive wine received a 95-point score from 3 different well-known critics. This is a wine that's powerful yet elegant, with descriptors that include cherry, plum, orange peel, mushroom, and spice. There's ample acidity and polished tannins with an impressive long finish. You can enjoy this wine immediately, as it's in the early stages of its drinking window, and it will cruise in your cellar for 15 years or more. Next up is an extremely enjoyable Barolo from a top producer and an outstanding vintage that sells for only around $39 per bottle. This wine is made by a family-owned winery that traces its roots way back to 1890. At that time, it was owned and operated by Giuseppe Borgogno, but in 1935, Giuseppe Borgogno's son-in-law, Giacomo Damilano, took over the operation and subsequently made substantial progress in improving both the winemaking and the grape-growing practices. Damilano is well known for being one of the biggest landowners in the prestigious Canubi MGA. But today, I'm featuring a wine that's a blend of Nebbiolo from 5 different MGAs. This is the aptly named Lecinquevigne. For a wine that sells for only around $39 per bottle, critics certainly enjoyed and favorably reviewed the 2021 Damilano Barolo Lecinquevigne. You can expect a dark fruit profile with flavors and aromas that include leather, tar, floral notes, and mixed spice. There's a long, lingering finish and impressive acidity and freshness. Founded way back in 1893, Cantina Terlano is a quality-minded cooperative that helps to ensure quality by paying its growers based on the quality of the fruit and not the quantity. The vineyards are located in the Dolomite Mountains in the foothills of the Alps. These conditions are ideal for the production of high-quality Pinot Bianco, like this next top Italian wine value, namely the 2021 Cantina Terlano, Vorberg, Pinot Bianco Riserva. The fruit for this special wine is grown in vineyards that have extremely rocky soils at elevations ranging from 450 to 650 meters above sea level. During the day, these rocky soils absorb warmth and help to radiate it back to the vines at night when the temperatures drop dramatically and there's extremely cool temperatures that help to preserve acidity and freshness in the grapes. The result is a serious, complex, age-worthy Pinot Bianco. This is a mineral-driven wine that's both concentrated yet extremely elegant. There's ample acidity and a creamy texture. Flavors and aromas include peach, apple, pear, chamomile, quince, and pineapple. It's definitely hard to resist this wine in its youth, but it's capable of aging up to 10 years, and it does gain some additional complexity. So I recommend buying multiple bottles and trying one immediately, and then saving some to enjoy over the years to follow. The 2022 vintage is out now, but I have a slight preference for the 2021 vintage, but you really can't go wrong with any vintage of this wine, as they do a consistently excellent job every year. If you shop around, you should be able to locate this bottle for around $49 in the United States. I've been singing the praises of the 2019 vintage in Brunello di Montalcino for a long time now. The Reservas are still in the retail channels now, but you'll need to act quickly as the next vintage will be released very soon. And before long, the price for the Reservas from 2019 and also the regular bottlings from 2019 will definitely be starting to head north, as you can only find them in the secondary market. Il Poggione traces its roots back to the 19th century, is one of the 3 original producers of Brunello di Montalcino. It's now run by the 5th generation of its founder. Il Poggione believes that the best wines are produced from the vineyard. As such, they emphasize biodiversity and sustainability, and all their fruit is harvested by hand. Of course, the winemaking is also important, and in 2004, Il Poggione completed the production of a brand new state-of-the-art facility that uses modern winemaking equipment to produce some extremely high-quality Brunello di Montalcino. So the next wine that I'm buying in 2026 is the 2019 Il Poggione Brunello di Montalcino Riserva Vigna Paganelli. This is a wine that was extremely highly acclaimed and sells for right around $145 per bottle. The fruit for this wine comes from their special vineyard, Vigna Paganelli, which was planted back in 1964. This is a wine that's only bottled separately and produced in extremely strong vintages such as 2019. The most recent bottling was 2016. This wine has impressive intensity, concentration, and depth. There's layers of flavors that include blackberry, plum, cherry, licorice, mixed herb, and spice. This is not a wine that you want to open anytime soon, however. I found that this wine is much better with some extended aging. So I definitely recommend buying this one and putting it away in the depths of your cellar. You'll definitely be very glad you did later on. With Tignanello selling for around $200 a bottle these days, I'm feeling a bit like an old-timer. When I first started buying that wine, it was only around $80 to $90, and that was not that long ago, maybe 12 to 13 years ago. Fortunately, however, Marchesi Antinori also has an extremely impressive wine that I enjoy that comes from a vineyard that's very, very close to the Tignanello vineyard. While it does not yet have the fame and notoriety of the Tignanello vineyard, the Badia Passignano vineyard is also in an extremely impressive location. It's around 250 to 300 meters above sea level, and it's in a bit of a valley since it's surrounded by some hills on a couple of different sides. As such, the climate tends to be a little bit cooler here, and the grapes enjoy a long, extended growing season, which helps to preserve freshness and acidity in the wine. Better still, 2021 was one of the very best vintages ever in Chianti Classico. So the next top Italian wine value is the 2021 Marchesi Antinori Badia Passignano Chianti Classico Gran Selezione. This has been a wine that I've enjoyed for a number of years. Some of my favorite back vintages include 2010, 2016, and 2019. So definitely don't hesitate to pick some of those up as well if you find some of the bottles stored with good provenance. But the 2021 vintage is definitely one of the best vintages of this wine they have ever made. It was extremely well received by all the critics who have reviewed it. It sells for around $60 to $65 per bottle in the United States, and undoubtedly a little bit less than that in Europe. This wine has a red fruit profile with flavors and aromas that include cherry, pomegranate, wild herbs, licorice, and there's a bit of an alpine quality that I find intriguing as well. There's ample acidity and a long, complex finish. This is wine that's almost to the early stages of its drinking window, so you can enjoy it now with a healthy decant, but it's certainly a very age-worthy wine as well, so it's one that you could enjoy over the next 12 to 15 years. Montepulciano di Abruzzo is a large wine region that is ideally and idyllically located between the Apennine foothills and the Adriatic Sea. The foothills provide some rocky sites with elevation, which is where many of the top wines are produced. Not surprisingly, Montepulciano is the dominant grape in Montepulciano di Abruzzo, although some blends are permitted. Montepulciano has been a workhorse grape that's been used to produce affordable red wines in central Italy for many years, but it is certainly capable of producing very high-quality wines as well, such as the next top Italian wine value. Tiberio is one of my favorite producers of Montepulciano di Abruzzo. They have some high-end wines that I really enjoy, but their entry-level wine, which is called the Montepulciano di Abruzzo, sells for an extremely reasonable $25 per bottle, and the 2022 vintage is really an extraordinary value at this price point. While Montepulciano di Abruzzo can be extremely tannic and have very grippy tannins, Tiberio did an excellent job with tannin management for this wine. They used some extremely gentle extraction techniques and also matured this wine for only 5 months in stainless steel. As a result, this wine is surprisingly smooth and approachable, even in its youth. This wine comes in at 14.5% alcohol by volume. This wine is full-bodied and powerful, but simultaneously elegant and refined. There's pronounced aromatic and flavor intensity. The flavors and aromas include sour cherry, blueberry, violet, and wet stone. An extremely impressive wine that I think you will enjoy. Located in Gaioli in Chianti, Castello d'Ama is situated on a scenic site with stunning views, extremely rocky soils, and high elevation. Specifically, it's located around 500 meters above sea level. These conditions help to ensure naturally low yields and make for some impressive concentrated expressions of Sangiovese. I had a chance to visit this winery back in September, and in addition to having some impressive artwork throughout the estate, they made some of the best wines that I tasted during my trip. My favorite was the Castello d'Ama, San Lorenzo, Chianti Classico, Gran Selezione. The 2021 vintage is on store shelves now, and it's extremely highly acclaimed, and justifiably so. This is an extremely impressive wine with tremendous purity of fruit and flavors and aromas that include blackberry, black cherry, and violets. There's ample acidity and a long, complex finish. This is definitely a wine that would be better in a few years, so it's going to be best to try to keep your hands off it and try to check in on it maybe in 2027 or 2028. It's dominant in Sangiovese, but they do include a little bit of Merlot in the blend as well. Next up is a wine that comes from a historic producer that was founded back in 1896. This winery is located at the top of Serralunga d'Alba, and the views are absolutely breathtaking. If you're in Piemonte, I highly recommend a visit, as I really enjoyed my experience there a few years ago. It's getting very difficult to find a high-quality Barolo that sells for less than $100 per bottle, so the 2021 Masolino Barolo represents exceptional value at around $50 per bottle. Masolino is a traditional Barolo producer that matures its Nebbiolo in large Slavonian oak casks. They completely overhauled the winery about a decade ago, and they've been using this new state-of-the-art equipment to produce their wines since 2016. Quality has never been higher, and that's particularly true with the outstanding 2021 vintage. This wine is a blend of Nebbiolo that comes from different villages, and that helps to add complexity to this wine. You can expect typical Barolo flavors and aromas of cherry, roses, tar, earth, and mixed spice. There's ample acidity and prominent tannins. There's an excellent wine that sells for around $60 per bottle that comes from one of Ornella's neighbors. This is a winery that was founded back in 2005. They also have one of the very top winemakers in all of Italy making their wines, namely Carlo Farini, who used to be the winemaker at Soldera. Orma Toscano IGT is a Bordeaux blend that's typically around 50% Merlot, and then they usually have around 30% Cabernet Sauvignon and 20% Cabernet Franc. You should be able to find both the 2021 and 2022 vintages in the retail channels now. Both vintages were highly acclaimed, and this is a wine that's pretty strong year after year, so you don't really need to worry too much about vintage variation with the Orma Toscano IGT. This wine features flavors and aromas of red and black fruit, graphite, mixed spice, cedar, and floral notes. This wine has ample acidity, silky tannins, and a long finish. The ABV is 14.5%. Next up is a wine that comes from one of my favorite Italian producers. I visited this winery back in 2021 and had a tremendous experience. I came away very impressed with the quality of their wines and also their ability to age extensively. This is a family-owned and operated winery that started way back in the 1960s. This producer has 72 hectares of vineyards that are located at elevations ranging from 280 to 320 meters above sea level. Castello di Monsanto is located in San Donato in Poggio. They have an entire lineup of wines that I enjoy, but at the $29 price point, you can find the outstanding 2021 Castello di Monsanto Chianti Classico Riserva. This wine has offered exceptional value for many years. The 2016 and 2019 are two of my favorites and are also showing extremely well, but the 2021 vintage may go down as one of their best vintages ever. This highly acclaimed wine is a blend that's dominant in Sangiovese, which makes up 90% of the blend, and then there's 10% of indigenous permitted grapes included as well. This wine features flavors and aromas of mixed red and black fruit, violets, earth, and mixed herbs and spices. There's abundant acidity and an impressive finish. This is wine that you can enjoy immediately, but I found that it improves quite a bit with even another year or two of additional bottle age after release, and there's certainly no rush to drink it. I'm enjoying the 2016 vintage right now, and when I was at the winery, I tried some expressions with a couple decades of bottle age that were still showing well. So certainly a very long-lived wine, especially at this price point. Over the years, I've frequently recommended the excellent second wines from Super Tuscan producers Sassicaia and Ornellaia. Those wines sold for around $50 per bottle for a long time, but unfortunately in recent years they've been creeping up steadily in price, and Guidoberto is now selling for around $65 per bottle, or even more than that in the United States. The Antinori competitor to Sassicaia and Ornellaia is Guado El Tasso, and Guado El Tasso also has an excellent second wine, but this one is still selling for around $50 a bottle in the United States. This is the 2022 Antinori Guado El Tasso con Ugo Bolgheri Rosso. As with most second wines that are based on Bordeaux blends, this one is Merlot dominant, as that helps with approachability. And the good thing about this wine is that it's ready to enjoy with food immediately. It features flavors and aromas that include mixed red and black fruit, licorice, and mixed herbs and spice. This wine is well structured, but the tannins are smooth and polished. You can enjoy this wine with food immediately, and it will certainly last in your cellar for 7 to 8 years or more. If you'd like to learn more about Italian wines, I've published numerous videos on various Italian wine subjects, including Super Tuscan wines, Barolo, Brunello, Chianti Classico, and many more. So if you'd like to check those out, be sure to check out the playlist that's linked above.